2 hours later.
It's like I need a cigarette after this.
Everybody riot, organized chaos, nobody quiet. We gon' try a seance. Communication and communion with the world's greatest icon. Station as a human, yet he's listening to my song. Hype John, this that no nigga with the bass and the bang. Make it do, yo, hit you with the 5 elements, like 5 elephants. Let him know I'm relevant, I'm heaven sent, telling him we're from a whole nother galaxy. I'm actually born from the static sea, ass to be crazy. I'm trying to be amazing. Next big thing kinda has a nice ring. Bada boom, bada bing. You love it when I go off, when it's all out and it's all awesome.
All right, and we are here. We are live on HamiltonRadio.net, channel HR2. This is the Roundtable, y'all. I am your host, John Brecco, and we've got a very, very special show for you guys today. I cannot wait to get into this. My co-hosts are here, Victoria Scaflin, looking like Harley Quinn out in this motherfucker with that hair. How you doing, girl?
Good. How are you doing, John?
I'm good. I can't complain. I slammed the table, though. That was aggressive. I apologize. I'm excited. Gigi Gustino is here. I almost said her last name wrong again. Holy shit.
Oh, wait.
That's too many Italian-ass syllables for me to pronounce. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How is everyone tonight? Everybody feeling it tonight? Woohoo!
Yeah, they're feeling it.
No, they're not. Don't lie.
All right, but I gotta tell you guys, we were actually supposed to do this show live from the studio, and it ended up actually being really nasty out here in Jersey. So I apologize we couldn't bring you that. But our guest hosts are here still. They came on GoToMeeting just for you guys. We got John Franklin with that fucking quarantine haircut, beard, mustache, everything. He clearly has not been outside in like 16 years. How you doing, bro? What's up?
Good, man. I got that Chris McCandless vibe going, you know, with the whole hair and beard thing, but everything's good, man. Can't complain. Good to see you.
Yeah, man.
Here.
Yeah, man. You told me you actually had COVID, bro. How you feeling?
You know, I'm good. Can't complain. You know, it was 2 weeks, 1 hour of my life was brutal. Really, that's really it. I'm a young, youthful person, so it didn't hit me so bad. But it's all good.
I just want to say I love how it was exactly 2 weeks and 1 hour.
Yeah, no. There was a 1 hour period where it was just terrible, like within the 2 weeks. My birthday,
Really?
the first day I got it. Yeah, it was awesome. It was like the best 2 weeks ever.
Let me tell you something about this man. This man was living up the apocalypse the way you're supposed to. He was listening to everything absolutely nobody was saying that he should do. Going to all these parties, doing keg stands, hugging people and shit.
Okay.
And let me tell you how he got it. I gotta tell you guys how he got it because he told me this before. He went over to a friend's house for like He went over to a friend's house for like 5 minutes, and that's how this motherfucker gets COVID.
He had things. He had like stuff of mine that I needed back, and he tested positive. So if you think that like the crowd was the problem, my keg stands were healthy. It was leaving things at a person's house that screwed me. So,
Right.
Social distancing keg stands. You know, you're drinking your body weight in beer. That's what you're concerned about. Social distancing.
Yeah.
Shit.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just glad you're okay though, and I'm glad you're here. So I just want to say thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We got Roro Antonuccio here. I probably said that name wrong too. How you doing? I haven't seen you in a year. How you doing? Good?
I know. I miss you. Good.
I miss you too. I met you.
Great. I mean, it's been crazy, but
yeah, bro. I met you once and I never saw you again. That sounds like normal 2020.
No, maybe twice.
Twice? Did I meet you at another show and I just forgot?
Twice.
All right. I do want to actually share how I met Ro really quick.
I have a picture with you. We met once and we took a picture.
Yeah. No, because this is how we met. I met Ro at the Comedy Cove. I was doing a show with 1015 that night. And I remember exactly how the show went. There were these 3 comics that just bombed worse and worse before I went up, and I was so scared after that. And then I actually ended up having a good night. So it ended up being not that bad, and I was worried for nothing. And I don't even know why I'm still talking. But I do want to get into our guest really quick, especially because
You were good,
Rose-
though. You were great.
I appreciate it. I do want to get into our guest though, especially for Ro, because she took about 16 years to get on this motherfucker.
Oh my.
It's all good. But anyways, our guest is from California. He's the host of the Bothering Strangers podcast. He's a comedian as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Herring is here. Give it up for this man.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Bro, I mean, the first thing that, I want to ask you, I try to ask all of my guests this in some form or fashion. How have you been with just everything going on right now in the world? Everything's been crazy. So how you feeling?
But before I answer that, can I just say that it's hilarious that Ro, who allegedly for the worst Wi-Fi here. Okay, allegedly works in IT. I've been doing all right. I mean, I'm unemployed, so they say go to college and then you get a degree and then you're unemployed. So
Yup.
someone lied to me.
They absolutely did.
I'm figuring out who it is. I think this is the most Italians I've been surrounded by in years right here.
Please, I equal 5.
Well, I mean, I'm Jewish, so I'm just like I might as well be Italian,
Yeah, I'm like, wow, you're like practically my family.
I know.
Yo, honestly, bro, when I was doing research for the show, I saw you wearing this fucking Adidas jacket. You were trying to pass yourself off for Italian. I'm sitting there watching this shit. I'm like, this motherfucker goes to Olive Garden. I can already tell.
No, I love Olive Garden. One of my favorite places. Okay.
That's in the Olive Garden, man.
I go
All
to
you
Olive
need
Garden.
is the gold chain, your tracksuit, and you're good to go.
Oh, wait. I have all that stuff. I have everything I need to be
I
Italian.
do
here.
not believe you, but
That is not everything you need.
I have a chain, and then I'll just go to New York. I'll be like, I'm walking here, and then I'm done.
I'm walking in this motherfucker, okay? Can't you see I take up a lot of the street? I'm
Now,
a fat
hold on.
motherfucker trying to... You need to know you need to make some room, okay? Stop
John
it
has
with this
something
bullshit.
to say.
Hold on. Now, before we go getting into what it is to be Italian, none of it involves Olive Garden. No self-respecting Italian
No.
shows up to an Olive Garden and is like, this is the fucking best. Like, I
The breadsticks.
promise you that. I promise you that. The second thing is, yeah, the chain Adidas jacket is important, but you did more of like a Long Island Jew thing than like what an Italian jersey thing.
Wow. It's that, John. Okay, John. I see.
Damn,
it
he's
now.
putting you on
Hold
the
on.
spot, Max.
Hold on. I gotta say something. He was trying with the impression though when he was moving his hands. Although I gotta say, you gotta give me a little bit more emphasis with when you do it. If I see your face when you're trying to move your hands, you're not doing it right. At some point in this podcast, you're not gonna see Roro's face because there's gonna be flying hands, and you're not gonna see Gigi's face for the exact same reason.
Brother, my family they owned the friggin' funeral home in The Sopranos. Nobody here is more Italian. than I
Wow.
think. Yeah, the Cosrelli funeral home. You could look it up.
Hang on a second, bro. You're talking Sopranos right now. Hang on a second, bro. I might have you. I used to go to college in Jersey City, right? You know the VIP diner where they always went in The Sopranos?
Yeah, of course.
I was right down the block from where I went to college. I always used to go there. I would get pancakes at like 2 o'clock in the fucking morning over there. Bro, I used to go to that diner all the time.
So wait, before we even get into, this isn't a debate because you ate where they ate. My family was in the show. I don't think like those are equivalents.
Oh, do you have stills of your family in the show? I would love to see.
Oh, I'll send you one of my cousins made a compilation of how many times they say our name in the show.
No
Like,
way. I
swear
gotta
to God.
see this. I
I'll
gotta
send it
John,
to you.
John.
Please.
I'm gonna have to get into something really fucked up and stomp somebody's teeth out like right on the stairs over at VIP Diner so I can have you beat. I just need you to know that.
Yeah, step it up for sure.
Hey,
I
JK.
gotta-
I don't mean to interrupt you guys, but I actually worked with one of the Soprano guys in a short film that I shot a summer ago.
way.
Yeah.
Who was it?
I always forget the name, but I got a picture with him too as well.
Okay.
I'll share it to you, Gigi. Actually.
Nice. Send it to me.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know what the benefit of Ruben is right now? Nobody can actually see his face, so nobody can actually tell he's not Italian because you can't see him.
No, you can hear he's not Italian though.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't
Oh,
know
hell
what
yeah.
he looks like, and I can hear he's not Italian.
I'm actually half
Are you
Italian.
kidding? Are you really?
Yes,
oh,
I am.
Shit. Ruben said, "Hold up, bitch."
God,
I am.
we look
Yep.
like a couple of assholes right now.
Look at us.
I love it.
I don't even know anyone here, and I'm just being mean for
Yeah.
no reason at this point.
My grandmother's my grandmother's
It's
last name is
beautiful.
Masucci.
Wow.
Wow, that's
Oh, wow.
Italian.
Wow.
That sounds like food.
It sounds delicious.
You hear that, Ruben? Your grandmother sounds delicious. We just wanted you to know.
Woo!
Ooh.
I
Let's
hate
see her
that.
undergarments.
That's right. I'll hook her up with a
Max, I
date.
didn't know you were into gilfs. Didn't know you were into gilfs, sir.
Wow.
But I do want to talk to you about, the podcast that you do, because it's kind of like the same thing we do, actually. We talk to different motherfuckers. I bring people, that I know that, want to be guest hosts and, want to shoot the shit on the show. And then I just message some dude that I don't know and hope he'll come on the show. I actually followed this dude along with, those hundreds of random comedians that follow you because we're all connected now and shit. But yeah, that was basically how me and Max pretty much connected, because I was like, wait, I follow this guy. He should come on my show. I have nobody on this date. Why not? But here's the first thing that I actually noticed about you, and it actually isn't necessarily about the podcast. You do have a lot of athletes on, but I noticed in your bio that, you're a former wannabe D1 hooper. So I just want to say that's really fucking vague. I don't know if you played and, it just didn't go how it was supposed to, or you just dreamed of it and it didn't even get that far. So I want to know, a little bit about what basketball kind of, influenced in your life, because I feel like it definitely influenced the podcast at least somewhat.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, first of all, I think every Jewish kid in America wants to be in the NBA, like off the bat. Like we're not good at it, but it's like it's our most played sport.
Yeah.
So I'm not good at basketball. I played a lot before the pandemic, but so the only time I would tell people I played, I went to the University of Kansas, like a big basketball school. So
Okay.
so everyone knew I didn't play, but I'm 5'11", so I fit enough of a look to be like I could have walked onto the team if like my dad paid someone money. So I would.
Yeah.
So of course I wasn't, but I would just flirt with girls and I would just tell them like I'm at the end of the bench, but don't look me up. You're not gonna find me.
That's hilarious.
But I made the team though, okay? Like
But I
just
made
know
the
that.
team. I made the team. I'm an integral part.
I go to practice every day.
Yeah. So that was it. That was all I would do. Normally people saw through it, but occasionally they'd be like, "Wow, what's it like on the team?" I'm like, I'm just shaping future NBA minds out here.
Nice.
I love it. Victoria, you asked something. I feel like I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
I said, were you tall enough to play basketball?
I'm 5'11", so like I think I'm tall
You
enough.
just made the cut. You just made the cut.
I mean, just barely, right? But
That's
in
point
the,
guard size.
in the Jewish community, I happen to be on the taller end, actually. So if it was just a Jewish
Okay.
basketball league, I would be a center.
So you were like the hype man for all the Jewish men out there. You were like, yes. They were looking up to you. They're like, yes,
Yeah,
our fellow man made it.
that's right. That's right.
We finally have one in here. We broke him in.
Yeah, well, hey, no, there's a Jew in the NBA now, so I'm good.
Hell
really?
yeah.
There's been a couple.
On the Wizards, there's an Israeli guy on the Wizards, so he took over my role, so I'm good.
I didn't even know that, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's like, who
No,
wants to
didn't,
spotlight?
Didn't
I
Steve
love it.
Novak played for the Knicks for a while? I'm pretty sure he might have been Jewish.
Who?
Steve Novak. Corner.
That's true.
No,
They loved him in New York, though. I remember that. They loved
Yeah.
this man in New York.
dude, corner jumper specialist, the white man Jordan. You know.
They don't
Yeah.
really have a lot of guys to love on the Knicks, so they gotta love somebody.
Kinda.
I just got to be honest. But, you know, you've been doing the podcast for a little while. You've had a ton of different guests on. Some of them I actually recognize. So I do want to ask, who's your favorite guest that you've had on out of all the comedians, athletes? I think I even saw a rapper on there too. Who's one of your favorite ones?
Yeah, there were 2 rappers. My favorite guest, I had Timothy DeLaGhetto from Wild and Out,
Shit.
Nice.
which I think was just like one of those like super starstruck moments where I'm like, oh my god, I love you, but like I had to like act normal and
Yeah.
say I love you and just mutter under my breath. So it had to be him. It had to be Timothy DeLaGhetto.
Yeah. I actually saw that you were phoning about his last name for about like 17 hours in one of the clips you put up. I actually saw that. You were saying you practiced saying his last name in front of a mirror. You still messed it up on there. He had to try to help you sound it out.
Yeah, I got it right. It's now I know it's Chantarongsu. Now I know how to say it. But like when you read that, you're gonna overthink it. And you're gonna think there's like some extra sounds or something. But now like I know how to say it.
Yeah. I do want to ask you though, how did you even get him? You know, because of like all the followers he's got, you know, everything he's got going on. I can imagine it must have been hell trying to get him.
Yeah, it took like 3 months between like my initial email to him
Okay.
and then him coming on. But basically, we talked to it in the podcast. I emailed him. He's in LA. I'm in Orange County. I'm in city called Irvine, and I went. It just an intro. Like, oh, I'm from Irvine. So in his mind, he was like, oh, I'll come down to Irvine, record your podcast, and then I'll go visit my friends. Except I do it over Zoom. So then I was like, nah, and then you know we went back and forth, and then like 3 weeks passed where he didn't even email me, but he basically said yes the first time, so he was nice about it. So he was like, yeah, I'll come on now.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. You know, kudos to you for emailing him for that long, because, you know, I definitely get frustrated when you try to follow up with some of these guys like all the time, and you know you just get no response back. It can be the most frustrating thing. So I give you a lot of credit for being persistent. You know, making things happen for yourself. You know, that's good for you, man.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Not fun.
Oh, hell no. Fuck that shit. That's awful. But, all right. So the next question I got for you, and any of you guys can jump in anytime you want. So if there's anything you want to, you know, ask him yourself, you know, throughout the conversation, just go for it. Especially because I'm going to have to get my charger at some point. So I just don't want you guys fucking looking at each other and shit while I'm trying to get myself ready upstairs. So I actually had to move this because we're actually trying to clean my house up because we might be moving. So
We
there's
can't hear Ro anymore, by the way. Her mic is totally turned off right now.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Alright.
bro. I
it
can hear
says
you.
it's muted.
Yeah, it's unmuted. Or it's muted.
There
Oh,
we
no,
go.
it's
There we go. She's good.
Okay, she probably just muted it by accident. Yep, I can hear you. Yeah, she just muted.
Oh, I didn't.
So Max,
didn't?
wait, I'm actually curious about something. Yeah, so you dropped in. So I also a recent college graduate. Now I'm intrigued by this. You sprinkled in very lightly that you used to like lie, you know, about being on the basketball team to girls. So I've been a part of this. I'm sure you have based on that story. What's like the worst outcome you've had of lying to a girl about like being on the team or something at a party?
Okay, so I didn't do this often, but and so the worst time, it wasn't with a girl. It was when I was at UCLA. I was visiting some of my friends from high school. I was at a party at one of the Jewish fraternities, and I was talking to people and they're like, what do you study? I'm like, I don't even go here. And they're like, oh, where do you go? I'm like, I go to University of Kansas, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm on the basketball team there. There's 2 people there. There's one short white Jewish dude and one tall black dude. The black dude goes, oh, really? Like, man, how'd that happen? The white dude's like, you're not on the basketball team. Because he's like you look too much like me to be on the basketball team. And I'm like, yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, oh man, like he just called me out immediately. And I was like, no, I'm on the back team. I'm on the back team. I am. And I'm a walk on. You just don't see me play. And I'm like trying to make myself sit down.
So you get paid for all of this, and you're just the walk on. You're just the face of the team, and you just
no, walk-ons don't even
walk-ons don't have a
don't even
scholarship.
get scholarship. Yeah, so it's like the lowest. And this Jewish dude just saw right through it.
Wow.
Yeah, so like,
there's absolutely no way you're on the basketball team at one of the top 10 basketball schools in the country.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
But you're like, using it to like pick up chicks, like, hey,
I used it a couple times. I because I also was like, I also felt like I was hesitant at first because I'm like, there's no way they're gonna believe me. But then I'm like, yeah, there have been guys who play basketball who are my height. They're not that good, but they play.
Listen, I always hear girls, they're like, oh, well, if you're 5'10" and above, then, you're in it, you're in it for me. I don't know what it is. Girls like taller men, and maybe that's what you had, and maybe that's what they liked.
Yeah, I mean, they want 6 feet. Here on the West Coast, you need to be 6 feet tall, though.
Oh, yeah.
And like 5'11" that height where they're going to say something like, oh, you're if you're 5'11", you never say you're 5'11". You're like,
you lie.
Yeah, you lie. Like you say you're 6 feet tall.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. My man is 5'11", and he will like legit say I am 5'11", like precise, like and 2.5 quarters. Like I don't know, dude. Like,
but the difference is he's not single, so he doesn't have to lie to people.
He didn't lie to me 8 years ago. He did not lie to me. He told me straight up.
If once you're in a relationship, it doesn't matter what you say at that point. But until then, I used to get to sit in the front of the car. People like if I was like with girls who were all smaller than me, I would be like, yeah, I just need to sit in the front. It's like I'm almost 6 feet tall. Like I really should be in the front of this car right now.
Oh my god, I would see right through your bullshit.
I am almost 6 feet tall. It's just a weird way of saying.
Yeah, I will literally get the tape measure out and fucking measure your ass. I'll be like, no, honey, this is not right.
So wait, going back to like the podcasting though, Max.
Yeah.
Like, you come out of college, obviously you're figuring it out. You decide like on this premise that's just like, I'm just gonna DM people that I, famous maybe, or people that I like, just to come on my pod. Like, how do you come up with that idea? Like, what was the thought process behind it?
That's a good question. So originally I was like I'm a big sports guy, so I was like I just want to do athletes. So the first interview I had was with a guy who plays for the LA Chargers. So he was an athlete.
Yeah.
And I've had Braden Fajoko. He was on Hard Knocks this last year, and like he was like one of like the star athletes on it. So
Gotcha.
I was like, okay, this is like, I'll do this, and I'll just have athletes. The problem is with athletes, like, you have to reach out to so many of them.
It's layers.
And also like they're so like tight-lipped, they're so politically correct. They're protecting a brand in like so much that like they really can't like divulge all that much information anyway. So, for me as like a comedian, like I was like, I just want to make jokes. Like I like have athletes sometimes, but like I want to make jokes. So that's what I was like. So like once I get comedians on here, then we can just essentially just like shoot the shit, for 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it may be. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, all right, comedians and athletes.
And what was like, who's like your big inspiration? You'd say like, either athletically or sports or comedy, whoever.
No athletic inspirations. I was never an athletic person, so I was always aware of who I was. Comedy
I guess more so I meant like an Al Michaels journalist aspect, because like you have that sort of like tier to you being a podcast host that hosts athletes as well as comedians.
Great question. I don't know. Whoever's big deal in journalism. I don't even follow those people like as much as I used to. But
Nice.
I would say comedy wise, like Mike Birbiglia. Mike Birbiglia is my
Yeah.
guy. I'm not even fully clean, but Mike Birbiglia just cracks me up. So I have to go with him.
That's awesome. I don't want to hog too much time. I just like really.
No, you
got-
guys are totally into sports and shit, and I'm like oblivious. I'm like, what? You know?
I like other stuff.
I mean, that's cool.
Me too.
Like, you guys are vibing on that. Like, I appreciate that. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, a little tidbit about me. I was a journalism major at school, so like interviewing people is back pocket for your boy.
Yeah.
Right, right. Good for
Dude,
you.
I-
That's awesome.
So like that's why I was just like I love taking off with this
Back
stuff.
pocket.
You know.
I should say that actually I'm not from New Jersey, but my dad's from New Jersey.
Very cool.
Okay.
It's
Where
all
in New
his-
Jersey?
He's from Lakewood, New Jersey,
Woohoo.
originally.
Okay, I've heard of Lakewood.
So this is very on brand right here.
Oh,
Love it.
nice.
I hope we're really giving you the cross section that you expected of people from New Jersey when you like look at all of us.
Well, yeah, of all the Italians in New Jersey, I'm getting the cross section.
There you go.
Everyone always says I'm like a Jersey goth, and I'm like, yeah, whatever that means.
Did you guys see that movie King of Staten Island? The Pete Davidson one?
Yeah, of course.
How accurate are we talking here? I realize
Well,
that
I'm a big Staten Island fan.
no one
so
is, though.
yeah, like they're okay where they are, and like like they're fine. And I think that that was a perfect depiction. Like Pete Davidson's from there, he gets it. I'm not gonna argue with anything he says. You know.
It just seems like a tough place, honestly.
I mean, everybody's got like Mother Mary and a half bath and an overgrown front lawn, and it's not tough. It's just kind of like you know, like you could see the Staten Island dump from Google Earth.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
heard that.
Yeah, so that pretty much is on brand, and I think like they sell drugs at the Staten Island Zoo, so like
That's why it's the best zoo.
yeah, like it's definitely not good drugs, like quality wise. But so I don't know. I'm sorry to be taking a crap on Staten Island, but I don't think I'm saying anything horribly wrong. They tried to secede at one point by themselves.
What?
John,
I
you're
do-
muted, man.
Am I muted? Or Brecco's muted?
No, Brecco,
See, we
not
can't have two Johns.
Yeah.
He's talking though. He's talking. Oh, there.
That's why nobody fucking heard me. Holy shit, I'm sorry. I was like, am I getting ignored on my own show? Am I being punked right now? What is this shit? I was trying to ask so many questions and shit. Oh my god, I apologize.
You're good.
Yeah, but nobody's going to Staten Island for drugs anyway. So
Couldn't hear you.
Yeah, that's.
Tell you,
It's
You're
like,
doing
yeah,
too
no, everyone's coming to my house.
if you're
oh hell
if
yeah.
you're getting on the Verrazano Bridge for anything of quality, you're sadly mistaken.
I don't know anything about the Verrazano Bridge, but I've heard only bad things.
It goes to Staten Island and it's too expensive. I don't like Staten Island. That's my be all end all. This entire
That's fair.
conversation.
That's what makes them angry.
I like Staten Island. I'm a Staten Island. I do.
well,
I
The
do.
show
Sorry
that
to hear
comes up,
that. What's that?
I was asking Ro if she had a show there coming up because I thought she did.
Oh.
They need comedy out there in Staten Island.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
They
Those
need
are my
hope.
people over there.
They do need hope.
They need a lot of things. I'll tell you.
I'm not gonna lie, like I live right next to Trenton, and you know they like really made it like a very artsy town now. You know, I mean, back in the day, like back in like the 50s and like the 40s, like it was like really like a lot of Italians out there, and
Yeah.
you know now it's hood out there, but they're like really creating like this art from it, and you know everybody's like showing like the creative aspects out there, and I really love that. You know, you have comedy, you have different artists, you know, that draw, that people that sing, like, you know, I love that they show themselves.
So-
Listen, when Art All Night comes back, that's going to be great for the community. I know they can't do it right now.
Yeah, well, you know, there was a massive shooting out there when Art All Night happened. I was actually there an hour before it even happened. It
Oh,
was,
I got a text
it was
like 2 in the
absolutely
morning.
insane. Yeah, no, it was absolutely insane. But every other
Wow.
year I went, it was great. But they also do the punk rock flea market, which is very more tight knit, and you know, I think Art All Night people were there just to get fucked up because it was like a free admission, and you know, there's a whole bunch of people that go.
Yeah.
So people weren't there for the art and stuff like that. They were there to get fucked up. But
I mean,
you know,
I heard they made it more tight knit though.
you know, they did. I mean, there were fucking officers out there with fucking AKs. I mean, it was pretty tight knit last time I went there.
Yeah, for sure. It needs to
John
be.
F. like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I just wasn't sure where this tangent came from, and I was just confused. Like, I was like, when did we get to Trenton?
No, I just brought up Trenton because you know, there's like a lot of like comedians out there as well, and you know, there's like a lot of creative, you know, artists out there, and that's where that tangent came off of.
Got
But
it.
yeah, I just got into like this this rabbit hole of Art All Night.
Got it.
Yo, John has been trying so hard to conduct a proper interview while I had my mic muted and didn't realize it. And then we just get into a tangent about Trenton, New Jersey.
Like love sports, love comedy. So what Max is doing is like great. So like,
it's right up John's alley.
hey, back pocket. Back pocket. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to hop in and get some? It's your show.
Yeah,
Man. You were the
I
one
do- I
who
do.
did the measuring contest before it started. So you go
Yeah.
ahead and
I do have to say something though about Gigi's boyfriend. He's pretty killer in FIFA.
FIFA.
That's all. Oh, bro, he's killing it at FIFA, 2K, all that
Okay,
shit.
that's the back pocket right there.
yeah. That's, okay. Yeah. All right. Ready? Max, basketball guy, 2K. You're putting
Yeah.
together a black top team. It could be all-time roster. I want you to go point guard to center. Who's your 5?
Tough. Steph Curry, point guard.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank God. If you're not a sports fan, I apologize because over your head. Shooting guard. I don't even know who's a good. Was Mike a shooting
I'm
guard?
pretty sure
Yeah.
Jordan was a
Yeah.
shooting guard.
Yeah, Jordan
Mike
shooting
and
guard.
LeBron?
Bron's a 3. I think you give Bron a 3. He's a small forward.
Yeah.
Small
So
forward.
you gotta put Braun at the small forward. Then for your center, I'm gonna go with Shaq,
Yeah.
Solid.
as you know, in those prime years, unstoppable.
So
he
are you
beat up
saying,
on
like, are you
everybody.
saying like just past skinny Shaq, like a little chubby Shaq, like the
Mm.
perfect Shaq?
Yeah, the late Magic, early Lakers years,
Yeah,
96, 97, just those 2 seasons of Shaq. Then I'm
Love
good.
it.
And then
Just a little chubby.
power forward, I don't even know power forwards. I'm not well versed in that game right there.
Yeah, I mean you could go Duncan. Like Duncan was definitely a 4.
Let's just go Duncan.
Yeah,
I
let's go Duncan.
can't think of enough
Good
off the
pick.
top. So
There you
we'll
go.
Duncan.
I love that. Thank you for indulging in a little basketball with me. I appreciate
Of
it.
course, love it.
That's a
Love
John,
it.
Killer
John
team.
F., tell us about you and your life. What are you?
Uh, in general, you know, a lot of different things. Been recently into the idea of smoking meat, so that's kind of cool. Don't like that's just like a new hobby.
That's the most Italian thing you can do right there.
Smoking meat's definitely only if I'm in like a guinea tea with like a toothpick. Like then it's really Italian. You could smoke whatever you want. Deep South smoking is a
Yeah.
thing.
That's
You know,
true.
Delicious.
Yeah, dude. But no, in general, like, big comedy guy. Obviously, sports is a huge thing for me. I work in, legal sports gambling, which is pretty cool. Do that whole shtick and do social media content creation and stuff. I'm on TikTok, not dancing, like just saying nonsense. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Is this
What's
enough
your-
about me?
What's your
Like-
ad on TikTok? We're gonna plug you right now. What's your ad on TikTok?
At John Franklin Comedy.
At John Franklin Comedy.
You can
You
find
just
me.
got a new follower.
Oh, you are one classy son of a bitch. I'll tell you that.
Try my best.
Oh my God, let's
Announce
release
it for the
these
whole
numbers by
world.
the end of the night if they don't already have them.
Yeah, but I guess thanks for asking. That's me in a nutshell.
But yeah, I do want to transition, back to like some of the guests you had, because like I said, I was looking at a bunch of them. Who's the most unique guest that you had on? Who was like doing something different, that you looked at it and you were like, "Yo, I should have this man on my show." Like, who was a guest like that?
There'd be two, honestly. There was one. It was last week's guest, which was a former UFC fighter, Ian McCall, but he's been retired for like about 3 years now. So he lives in California. So he's been working in the psychedelic therapy space ever since he retired. Because like for him, like PTSD, dozens of concussions, the whole like just everything. So like he retired. He was truly a broken man and like wanted to kill himself, as he told me.
Yeah.
So, for him, psychedelics have saved his life. And then beyond Ian McCall, I had a kid younger than myself. He's like 20. His name's Cole Langs. He's a polyglot. He's 20 years old and he speaks 10 languages.
Whoa.
And
Like
there's a lot to get in there,
That's pretty cool.
Like he
It's
speaks
incredible.
fluent.
Yeah. It's just like
Yeah,
he's built different.
Yeah.
I've heard like psychedelics help people in so many ways, like peyote and stuff like that. Like I've seen like whole spiels like about that, and it's insane how it's helped people in their lives. I personally, I'd probably end up dead somewhere, like in a hole, because I have too many demons to like figure out.
Mm.
But yeah, there's like a lot of things with like psychedelics I've heard that like helps people. And a lot of people are against it until like, they see the actual process that you go through, and you have to have like basically like a shaman to like, you know, help you out through, your inner demons. But I always say like, I could never do that shit because I can't even smoke weed because it gets me too fucking crazy in my head.
Yeah. I gotta tell you something, the things that all of these fighters go through, I'm just happy, somebody's able to help them and, able to get their hands on what they need. Like you said, all the concussions, all the injuries that they go through, and, all the times they go in a ring and try to knock each other's head off. I can only imagine, training for that every 6 months, to come to something like that, it wears you down after a while. Even these guys who have had like 20, 30, 40 fights, I can imagine that just takes its toll. So, it's just great, it came full circle, because I had this guest on a while back. He does photography for the UFC. His name was Don McGuire, and he was telling me, all the different stories about, all these fighters and everything that, they went through, and what, brought different guys, back from, some of the trauma that they've been through. And, it's insane to hear some of the stories that, come out of, from UFC fighters, especially, I feel like.
Yeah, it's a crazy market where it's, I mean, like the legality is obviously like a problem because, in Oregon, like you can microdose, but it's still illegal. So I think the problem is that when we talk about like like LSD and shrooms and just all these psychedelics, we think about like going to Coachella and going on like an acid trip.
Oh my God, please.
That's not what he's doing. Like what people with psychedelics, that's like a calculated amount of like whatever you're taking with a shaman. Like that's not the same thing at all. And they're serving completely different purposes.
Right.
Yeah. So I think now with Johns Hopkins doing a study, and like with studies coming out, like I don't know what's gonna happen, but something's gonna change in the next probably 5 or 10 years. Like,
no, Max, you're absolutely right. I have to agree with you on that one.
I think it's super interesting too, just like based on the fact that you have this podcast, you have this person on it, like now you've become pretty well versed in this topic in and of itself. And I think that's pretty cool, man, in general.
I mean, I personally, I just scratched the surface. Like he was so passionate, he got so in depth, and a lot of it was far beyond me. But like, yeah, I've definitely learned a lot of stuff I never intended to know about. And now I have this information.
Those are the best guests when you hardly have to do any work because they're so passionate about what they do. You barely have to talk. You barely have to go through any of like the research you did. I love guests like that, especially when it's for something like that. Can I be honest though? I feel like, out of all the sports, that, I've played, I've seen, my first love is football. But I honestly feel like, the guys in the UFC, they do the absolute hardest sport that there is. You know, everybody says football is bitch rugby because, you know, rugby players don't wear pads. UFC guys are trying to knock each other's heads off in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're only doing that to a certain extent in rugby because it's not like you can go kick the other guy in the, you know, right in the chin. But I just feel like it's probably the hardest sport you could possibly do.
Sure.
It for sure is, and I mean the thing, I think in America at least we think, when we think about like concussions in sports, we think about like football and boxing and UFC.
Yeah.
They're happening in hockey and soccer, and like they're happening in rugby as well. And they're just not testing it like the way, like the
Right.
same way. Like they're happening in a lot of places, and we just don't know. But I think with boxing and UFC in particular, it's like, if you're like a casual observer, you're looking and be like, he fought for 15 years professionally, and he only had like 30 fights.
Hmm.
You know, and you're like, why so few? That's
Yeah.
like,
That's
you
a
need
lot.
all the time to recuperate after a fight. You know, you need to train, and then you need like you know, just the casual observer, it doesn't look super impressive, I guess.
So now I have a follow-up to this. We've talked a lot about bests, but like, do you have somebody that was just like the worst that you've ever had on the podcast? Like somebody you can just notably say like, this show is almost not even worth posting.
I don't want to call anyone in particular, but like there were definitely episodes where like, the thing is, if it was a bad episode, it's probably also, I probably played a role too, in like, in terms of like, I could have done more research, or I could have like presented myself in a better way as well. So like, if it's a bad episode, like it's not like you blame one, you know, it only goes one way. So
Sure.
I can think of like, I've only done what, 22 episodes, so it's not like I'm you know, chock full of them.
Yeah.
I can think of like probably like two specifically that were like, yeah, they had their downsides. Certain times, certain parts of the episode were slow. So
I think you could, like, in general, the way that I would describe it is like, you have these people who, even if whether you're researched or not as the host, they're just like not giving you much in an interview setting. Maybe they're not comfortable or whatever it may be. Like I've experienced it myself, being somebody who's interviewed a ton of athletes and things like that. It's just like, it could be like a lack of comfortability. So that's why I was curious to see if you've encountered that 22 episodes in.
yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I'm sure you learned about this like in journalism classes, but it's like, you have to come prepared for the worst. Essentially, you have to come
Yeah.
prepared to be where like,
Yeah.
where, like you ask what like you think is a great question, and then they give you like yes as an answer or something.
Yeah.
So like,
No, that's
I had
definitely it.
I had a guy on. And this is not to call him out. This is more to criticize myself.
Okay.
I had a former NFL quarterback, Jay Fiedler, who played for the Dolphins way back
I
when.
love Jay Fiedler.
Everyone loves Jay Fiedler, yeah. And then I found out that my cousins went to his camp and everything. So like, I had him on my podcast, right?
Yeah.
And the premise was that for the most part we were going to talk about like his Judaism, because like football's not a sport that Jews play a lot of, and he was a quarterback, and like the fact that he was
Went to
Jewish
Dartmouth.
quarterback together is like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't. His Judaism didn't matter all too much, you know. Like he was like, it was
Right.
something I did. I was Jewish. It was kind of like people put it on him. But when I asked him that
Yeah.
question, I made a mistake, and I was like, oh, he's gonna give me like some super thoughtful answer, and it's gonna be like really philosophical, and it was fine, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's an interesting guy too, because like he had it took him so long to break into the league and actually play, and then he had like that 3 or 4 year stint with the Dolphins where he was like a very formidable quarterback. Like went to the playoffs, I think twice, and then
Super
like
underrated.
and then just like out of nowhere, the Dolphins were like, "Nah, we're moving on."
Gotta go. Yeah, and his
Yeah.
voice was.
Yeah, man.
I had not heard his voice previous to his voice. I've never heard a deeper voice in my life.
Really? I mean,
Yeah,
I-
it's
that's
crazy.
shocking.
Just look up like an interview with Jay Fiedler on my podcast, like find his voice anywhere, and you're like, oh wow, that's a deep voice.
Yo, you want to know what I found funny actually recently? Like, I'm
What?
sure you guys know about the Deshaun Watson situation going on.
Yeah,
When
of course.
When Andre Johnson sent out that tweet, I just remember everybody saying, like, I don't even know what this guy's voice sounds like, and he just sent out this tweet.
Dude,
I don't
Andre Johnson is a scary man.
He's a big fella.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden, you don't even know what his voice sounds like, and now you get this tweet. I think that's reason enough to be scared.
I mean, they're gonna have to haul if they, but it would be a crazy trade because like the quarterback market is like Madden in real life right now. Like Stafford's on the market, Watson's on the market. Like there's rumors that Tua might get traded. Like it's just crazy.
It's open. It's very open.
Dude, it's fantasy football. It's fantasy football levels of insane.
Oh yeah,
you can pick a whole fucking team.
I'll tell you what, like it's ruining lines right now. Like people don't know.
I guess for you working in that industry, it definitely is not good.
Yeah, it's good and it's bad because it means like a lot of money's floating around, but like at the same time, it's like we need to be on our shit accurate. You know what I mean? Like you got to be like really picking out these teams that these guys potentially could go to, because if you screw the odds up and like something happens in the matter of a day, like you get shit all day.
So I'm curious because I don't do sports betting, but like some of my friends do.
Sure.
Who makes the lines? Are they like economists or something that make the lines?
So good question. There are these guys called traders who basically work across the industry. They could have background in, but it could be data analytics, economics. You have to be a numbers person, and they basically right, and they basically all work kind of like in this web. So like I work at BetMGM, and our guys will kind of network with MGM Grand in Vegas, and there's like a main guy in MGM Vegas who then talks to all the other traders within his circle in Vegas. We come up with our odds, FanDuel, DraftKings, whoever comes up with their odds. Most of them are comparative because you understand like where other traders are going, but you also have to like be really keyed in on the numbers. So data analytics is huge.
Shit.
That's the thing. I was always like, who comes up with this stuff?
That sounds like a lot of work.
It's a lot of like interlocking people, and it's crazy that it boils down to like one number at a bunch of different levels, but like that's why they do it, you know. That's why they're who they are and who we are, you know. Like, they've been doing it for so long, they just get it right.
I was listening to that, acting like it was E=MC². He explained that so perfectly.
Dude, I'll tell you, like I'm only in the social media department, and like you have to know all this crap, otherwise like you can't talk to customers, like you can't do the right things, like content to content. It's really interesting.
Yeah. All right, so I actually want to switch it up to comedy for at least a little bit. I know because Ro's been trying to get all her sports opinions out. She's had so much to say on it. So I do want to say that, you know, the first question I have, you know, just from, you know, transitioning and everything, and I feel like John might have already asked you this, but like what made you want to do it in the first place?
The podcast?
Wow.
No, comedy.
Oh. So I tell people just like, you know, 3 people told me I should do it, and I was like, all right, that's enough for me. but I don't know. It was probably just like some, you know, crazy like I mean we can all relate as comics. It's like kind of like an Island of Misfit Toys type of thing.
Yeah.
So you know, like it's probably some crazy like desire to be like validated, you know, and like constant. And then, you know, addiction comes in because it gets like addicting. But initially, validation for sure.
Yeah, no doubt the most addicting thing you could experience is somebody laughing at what you say.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Nothing better than that
feeling in the world.
Yeah.
I do actually want to share my story with Max, but I've actually never heard Rose's story. I know John's already, but I never got to hear Rose's story anytime I've talked to her. So, like, what made you want to do it? Because I want to ask you that.
Personally, I went through a really tough time right before I did comedy. So I have experience in writing. I did plays, I've directed, I've acted, I did all that for 20 years. But I never even thought of comedy. And when I was going through my personal thing and breakups and abuse and all this other stuff, I saw this comedy writing class. And I said, what better way to really get over things than just to go and be with comedians and laugh my ass off and also be part of that. And I did. I joined a writing class and that was it. And I've been in awe of everyone. I go there, whether you're 19 or you're 67. Like, it's just awesome to watch, and it's great. It's a huge community. I mean, you end up being friends with everybody, and it's been a blessing, So yeah, it's fun.
I feel like you're one of those people because I've always just gotten the vibe that you're just a kind, positive person.
So
I feel like
we'll see. There's shows coming up and everything, and you get to meet like all these people, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I do have to say, I feel like you're one of those people that just like watching, the different comics you meet, like watching them develop their jokes and watching them like become better, especially the ones that you've gotten to see multiple times. I feel like you really enjoy that.
You're so sweet. I keeps going in and out, but yeah, I mean,
It is going in and out a little bit. Can you guys hear?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if it was.
Yeah,
just
I do, and I learn from it. I'm that type of person. Is like I'm older than you guys, so but I being humble and being able to learn. But I know I keep going in and out. I'm hard. It's bad. Sorry.
No,
Verizon.
You're good.
It's not me. It's Verizon.
I believe it. I was about to say you might want to get Paul, that Verizon guy, back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, definitely not a sponsor.
We ain't doing so good though.
You guys keep just move along because I feel bad.
Nah, honestly, don't feel bad. The fact that we get to do this live is a blessing in the first place, but we do ask for shit like this. I had one guy who I used to board out for when I started interning with the station. He described the process of doing his show like a monkey fucking a football. That's the exact words. Those are quotes. Yeah, but no, stuff like that happens. It's okay. But all right. So I mean, I do want to ask you, a couple more things. I got, I think, one or two more questions. So something that I actually took notice of when it came to comedy, when you talked to Maddie Smith, you guys were talking about stand-up being like the lowest rung of entertainment, or that's how it was considered. Obviously we all have, a ton of respect for comedy, a ton of respect for, the men and women that do it because we do it ourselves. So, I just want to get, I heard what she had to say. I want to get like some of your thoughts. Do you feel like it's looked at as like a low rung of entertainment? And if you do or not, why?
I mean, I do, and that's not to take away from it by any means. I'm not gonna sit here and rank it amongst all the other forms of entertainment, but like it's incredibly difficult. Like it's one of those things that like it takes so long to get okay at. Not even good. It takes so long to go from like bad to being like I'm all right now.
Yeah.
But it's like Maddie Smith talked about on episode. It's because there's little emotional involvement in a comic's life, or like with an actor or an actress. And so if you're a comic, you just do stand up, then that's one thing. But like if you act, then you may have the opportunity to like show people let people become more emotionally connected to your characters, which allows them to become more emotionally connected to you. But like we've all seen, like people come to a show, like they may go pay to see one of us. They pay to see us, and then they go to the show and hopefully they'll have a good time. But either way, they leave, and that's that.
Yeah. Do you know what, too? Just along that same vein, and I'm sure you guys will agree with this, it's that idea I think most people have that when they're sitting at home and they watch comedy and they're like, I can do this. Like I could easily do this. Like people who've never done it before do think it's a very easy medium for some reason. And then like I've had people tell me like they just want to go to an open mic and tell stories from their childhood. And like that would be their and like they know they could do it. And it's like that's like I mean, yeah, anybody could go do an open mic and like that's cool. But there's a lack of appreciation for the art. I was thinking like I could just go do this without, like you said, Max, those years of going from bad to all right to okay to great. You know what I mean? Just like thinking you're gonna be good off the bat.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it takes so much work.
I saw that. I was at an open mic one time way before the pandemic, and I literally saw like it was about over, and then this one dude was just watching like because it was at a bar, and he just kind of came outside to watch it. He basically in his mind went, "Yeah, I think I'll be fine at this," and he went and signed up, or he went and talked to us. He's like, "Can I sign up?" And they're like, "Yeah, I can't stop you."
Yeah.
And he got there, and immediately he froze. Immediately he was like, "Oh shit, I signed up for this."
Yeah. I think it's really I think like that's where you're hitting the nail on the head on there, dude. It's like it's not so much a low art form because it's like that idea that comics are just comics. It's because people lack respect for the medium.
Yeah, it's ignorance. It's coming from a place of just not knowing how difficult it is, and like I feel like we all kind of felt that way too at first, where we're like, oh, I'll be like the next like Chappelle, whatever, whoever it may be, and then we bombed.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, when I first got into doing it, because I had some of those people that were like, you should do stand up, you should do stand up. I had people in my ear doing that too, and I never thought my jokes would honestly connect with different people that I was in front of because they're strangers, and I thought about that beforehand. All right, I'm going to share a little bit about how I got into it because I do want to because I like sharing this with people and hearing their stories too. So, I had one specific person in my ear that, wouldn't leave me alone about it. And she used to write and she stopped. So I told her, I'm like, yo, if you start writing again, I'll give this a shot. And then she sends me like all this shit she started writing down so she could try to write a story the next day. She sends me all of it. I'm like, fuck, now I really got to do this shit. Oh, this is terrible. So I go to, somebody from Hamilton Radio, because that's actually where I started meeting a bunch of comics. And, I tried to get myself booked. Eventually I do. It took a couple months, but somebody actually did. And he booked me for 10 minutes. This is my first show. So I didn't realize how much of a shit show this was going to be at first. I think it was actually all right for the first time and it being 10 minutes, but it was as hard as I thought it was going to be. It was harder than I ever even imagined, especially when you get to more of those open mics and you start seeing how this really is. It's been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, but it's also been one of the, most rewarding things too,
Sure.
Yeah, it's both those things.
Yeah, 100%. But I do want to say we are coming up on the end of the show, and I know Ruben has to get the fuck home. So I do want to ask you one final question. What are some of like the future things that you want people to see with this podcast? Whether it be like guests, other types of people that, you want to bring on that kind of separate, the show a little bit. What are some things that you want to do with this?
Yeah, I'm just kind of starting up that process where I'm like really trying to differentiate it. So I started every second week I add one 30 minutes or less video called just like Bothering Strangers 30 Minutes Max, where I interview people who are in just fields that we consider to be like taboo in America or that we just know nothing about. So like the first episode was with a girl who does OnlyFans.
Very cool about it.
And we didn't even and it was professional, and we just kind of talked about like why and how does it work and just like all that stuff. And we laughed, and it was good, and it was really good. It was really good. And the second episode, which dropped yesterday, was with a girl who I went to college with, she's a model and an influencer. So there's like a lot of behind the scenes to that. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And then I think just for me, like I think like my diversity of guests is how I'll differentiate it on a larger level. So I don't know who, but hopefully, but I mean, as it gets bigger, you know, the goal is to just bring on just big people consistently.
Totally.
I love it, man. Definitely a great thing to hear. And I'm in the same boat as you, so I hope we can do it together. And I really, really appreciate you being on here. I don't mean to like rush the ending, but I know my phone is about to die, and I already got logged out of this once. So I do want to say I really, really appreciate everybody that came on tonight. Thank you guys for doing it. Yo, John, you're a hell of an interviewer, bro. That was great.
Thanks, man.
That's a journalism degree right there.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, the things you're good at, right? And before you even let them go, Max, drop a handle for everybody. Like, where are we finding you, man?
You can find my podcast on Instagram at Bothering Strangers, and
Guess
you can
what?
find me. What?
You just gained a follower, my friend.
Oh, there you go. And thank you. And then you can find me as well at Max Hearing One, HEERING, 2 E's and 1 R. So Max Hearing One, and then subscribe to my YouTube. Add me on LinkedIn. I'm trying to build that network too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Max Hearing. Look me up. I'm there.
Hell
All
yeah,
right.
man.
Thank you. In the round table here on HamiltonRadio.net channel HR2, John Brecco with the co-host Victoria Skaplin, Gigi Gustino. I think the connection happened there, so I apologize for that. John Franklin, Roro Antonuccio, special guest Max Hearing. We'll be back same time, same channel next week. Good night, everybody.
I'm actually saying something you lame ass suckers. The beat is infinite where I'm from, and the timeline has only begun. You stunned?
To the beat, let it move your feet. This is our language, where we're from. Just move to the waves of the drum. You just spoke in a native tongue.
Buffoon on the track, I don't even do when I rap. I ain't even try when I sing. This is my kind of thing. It's the rise of a king, kin to a kid who is my twin, like a hyphen. Draw the line in hip hop where the shit stop. Leave it in tip top shape for the hit snobs. Make them twist knobs so they wrist pop. Got the disc jocks reminisce rocks while we piss pots. And we hip hop irrevocably. The domination is inevitably settling, pedaling into a whole nother timeline. Wise guys unidentified like a sci-fi Wi-Fi. Connecting when we network, make your neck hurt. When my next words make you fester with the best verse mixture of elixirs. Gonna give you chills in your sweatshirt. I'm adjusted, modified to another kind of life. Coming up to sacrifice, man, that stuff is do or die. Plus I know that I'm a die, so go fuck a 9 to 5. I need to sleep, I got dreams to be. And my mama doesn't get it, and Papa isn't with it. A spillage village of common sense with a pivot. If I could get it, I got it. I'll be the prophet who profits off of nonsense.
To the beat, let it move your feet. This is our